Hi, gun people. All right, I've been meaning to do this for a while here. So everybody's been asking about the armed guy who was in his house and a family member turned him in that he had guns and the cops came and shot him because he wouldn't give up his guns. Well, that's the short version and without a lot of facts. Looking into this, and again, keep your britches on. Don't be blaming me for telling you the way the law is and the way it stands and confusing that with I agree with it or I don't think it's tyrannical or BS. So I think red flag laws and seizing guns is BS. I'll get that right out the front. But in this case, uh, there was several incidents or things that led up to this guy losing his gun. And it wasn't just a family member calling in. People are saying any family member or cop can just say you're not able to have guns and they can take your guns. Well, that's not true. They passed a law, it's gun control, it's BS, and the law has been in effect in California for a while. And let's take a look at some what they call red flag laws. So again, whatever the government calls something, public safety, gun violence prevention, anytime they use things like that, it means the opposite. So a red flag law is gun violence prevention. It's not. It's gun control. It's not gun violence prevention. It's gun control. So it's a law that permits police or family members to petition the state court for a temporary removal of firearms. So what they've done is you used to be able to go to court and get what's called a temporary restraining order. Actually, cops can give temporary restraining orders right on the spot. If I go to a DV and a woman's been hit and I remove the guy and he's arrested, I can issue a 72-hour temporary restraining order, and then the judge will have to hear facts on whether he wants to make it permanent or not. So restraining orders have been, again, seized with a lot of power, not a lot of things. Any cop can give it. You used to have to go to the court. Now any cop can give it. And now they've just extended that to basically a restraining order, a temporary restraining order. Now they're not calling it that, but what it is basically it's a temporary removal of firearms order. Same thing as a temporary restraining order. The way a restraining order works is you get a temporary order immediately, which is for a very short amount of time, and then both parties have to show. The reason why you have temporary orders is because it's considered an ex parte hearing. Ex parte means one party, meaning one party was excluded, ex parte. So when you exclude one party and you don't hear their side, the government doesn't issue a permanent or a year-long restraining order. They issue what's called a temporary order to stabilize things for usually a few days to 7 days, a week, whatever. And then you have a hearing where both parties are allowed to give their side, and then the judge decides on whether or not the order stays or whether it goes away. Again, I'm not agreeing with it. I'm just telling you the way it works. And the news put out this 5 things that you need to know about the red flag law. So Maryland had a bill, and they called it an extreme risk protective order. It's BS. It's an emergency protective order. It's a restraining order. It's an RO. It's a temporary order to stay away by any other term. And now they've made it a temporary gun seizure order. It's the same thing as a restraining order. So a judge may temporarily take your guns away. Okay, a judge can sign the order. The problem with this is no judge wants to say, I'm not going to take it away temporarily and have somebody dead, and then I got to answer on why I didn't take it away. So when it says the judge is allowed to make a temporary order, all temporary orders 99% of the time are approved. It's a rubber stamp. Very, very rarely, unless the judge knows the person, will he say, I'm not issuing an order to temporarily restrain a person or to seize their guns. That's just not the way it works. So how does it work? A petition is filed with the court to explain potential danger. A judge needs specific reasons on why the person in question might harm themselves or someone else. Now, needs specific reasons is kind of vague. And again, when they wrote this, they wanted a judge to look at this and go, look, I need more than just the girlfriend is scared of him and he's got guns and he just hit her and now she's saying she's afraid he's going to shoot him. That's not specific reasons to me. Will a judge think that's, yes. Will this be issued for that being under specific? It will, but it's not right in my mind. But who the hell am I? I'm just telling you how the law works. So when they wrote it, they said you need specific reason why the person might harm himself. The other petition also must. It doesn't say shall or might. It says must include things such as how many guns. Well, there's a clue. Don't let anybody know how many guns you have. The person has, and where the weapons are. So if, man, God forbid somebody call one of those on me, because I don't even know where all my guns are. I stumble across guns all the time. I got them hidden all over the place. So I don't know how many guns I have, and I don't know where they're all at. I don't know how somebody else is. But according to this law in Maryland, the judge has to know how many guns a person has and where the weapons are. Now, how they're going to get around this is they're going to go, we're going to go to this house because the girlfriend says he has a pistol in the night cabinet and he has a pistol underneath his car and he keeps a rifle in the closet. So they will put that in the petition, which will satisfy this. However, when the cops get there and they can't find one or more of the guns that was listed, they're going to be able to look anywhere for the guns that they missed. And if they stumble across other guns, just because they are not listed does not mean they can't take it, because the petition is to remove weapons. Therefore, if they find any weapons, they're going to be able to take it. Now, if somebody wants to get technical, they could go, if the guns other than these are found, then you have to go back to the court and get another order to seize those. I don't think they're going to do that. It's not reasonable. If the judge is saying remove these guns, it's obvious the judge wants all guns removed. He doesn't just want these. If you come across another one, take it. So then it says, if approved, a judge has authority to take someone's guns away within hours of someone sounding the alarm. Basically, anyone can call foul and the judge can take your gun. The details will be sorted out in court within a couple weeks. Yeah, okay. Who can file the petition? Very poorly written. Only a handful of people. That's not BS. That's not only a handful of people. That's way too damn many. Any law enforcement. Hell, that's how many law enforcement across the country? That's thousands of people, health professionals. How many doctors, nurses, first aid, medical, ambulance drivers? That's thousands of people. Spouse or family member. Well, it depends on how big the family is. Spouse. Someone the person is dating or has children with. Now we've increased the number more. Current or former legal guardian. So if a guardian is requesting this, it's pretty much going to be a no-brainer if you start getting guardians involved. Okay, what if someone is lying? There's more BS by the media. The red flag law covers this particular issue. If the petitioner is found making false claims, embellishing the truth, they could, not will, not mandatory, not shall, they could face perjury charges and jail time. So we have could, perjury. Man, perjury is a very hard crime to charge. This ain't going to happen. They're never going to charge anybody for this. So the media is paying us, oh no, we're protecting your rights. Don't worry about it, stupid sheep. Just listen to the government. We're here to help. That's BS. There is no. And they made the crime a misdemeanor. So if somebody makes false claims and it turns out to be false, the crime is only a misdemeanor. Now, because they take a statement signed under penalty of perjury, they could file perjury, which is a felony, but they won't. Petition must also be signed and sworn by the petitioner under penalty of perjury. Yeah, okay, great. Let's see. Maryland has 2 major shootings this year. National headlines, August. That's kind of what started this bill. So in the first month of this bill happening, they had 114 requests to remove guns. And guess how many were refused? I want to say all. Hang on. So out of 114 requests, look at the way the media writes this. Requests in October, 61 interim orders and 70 temporary orders were granted. That means what? Like 3 weren't granted? Most of these were made by family members and spouses. That's kind of odd. Government didn't even get their government or medical didn't even get their paws in this. It was all spouses and family members. So the bill that was put up was extremely lengthy and long, and I read it, and it's a bunch of BS. It's a bunch of ex parte this, and you have 2 weeks, I think, after you get the temporary to go to court, and if the party doesn't show you can do it, and then of course in here, 14 days. The order no later than 14 days after receipt of petition, the court shall set a hearing. So you have to get a hearing within 14 days. So a wife can take your guns away for 2 weeks if she wants to, just by making a statement. So, I mean, is the law BS? Yeah. Is it going to be abused? Absolutely. Is it going to be issued 99.999% of the time? Yes. In the bill, they also put, of course, you have to pay for storage if the cops take your guns and ammo, and it includes ammo, and you pay the government for storage, which means police departments are going to start charging you for storage. Just like when you get your car towed, not only do you have to pay the tow company, you have to pay the police department a fee because they had to have your car towed. So now they're going to start having you to pay a release fee in order to get your guns back. It's absolutely outrageous. It's BS. It shouldn't be happening. But look, if a guy's got a temporary restraining order and he's threatening to kill his wife and he's beat her up and he's violated an order and he went back to the house and he hit her again and we know he has guns, and it's like, because I remember I was in a case one time and I was like, man, I need to get this guy's guns. I think he's going to kill this lady. And there was no way for me to get them. This was before these type of orders were out there. And I was like, dude, I can't. And I can't remember if I end up asking a guy voluntarily to give me his guns, and he might have gave them to me. I don't remember, but I really thought this guy was going to kill this guy, and there was absolutely nothing I could do that he had guns. So was that ideal? No. There'll be some of you that say, you know what? Until he killed her, it was none of your business. You shouldn't have done it. I think if you have a trend and reasonable belief that somebody's in danger and somebody has guns, I mean, maybe you can go in front of a judge and get it. But this is going to be abused. It's going to be easier. It's going to get easier, and I'm not a fan of it. If I had trust in a system and courts and DAs and cops to say we're only going to use this in extremely limited situations, then I think it could be a decent tool for isolated incidents. This is going to be a routine now. There are going to be cities passing laws saying, you know what? Cops don't have a choice. If there's any violence and you do a restraining order, you must fill out an order to take the guns. And then everybody will be adding to it and jumping onto it, and the liberals will start saying you can't get it back and you need a fee and you have to go through a background. Oh, yeah, I forgot that. You have to go through a background before you get your guns back to make sure you're allowed to own guns. So we got more fees and more hoops to jump through. So bad law? Yeah. Is it going to be abused? Yeah. Did this guy get killed just because somebody said he shouldn't have guns? No. There was an incident. He had a restraining order. They went there with the restraining order because of this, and there was prior violence. And they said, give me your guns. He goes, no. He grabbed a shotgun. They wrestled for the shotgun. The shotgun went off. When it went off, the other officer thought that he was shooting at the cop, so he shot the guy. It's going to be ruled justified. Should they have been there? Should they have been trying to take his guns? I know most people want me to say, no way, it's a violation of the Second Amendment and they should never. And I'm almost there most of the time. But I do think there's exceptions to the rule. And I know there's no exception to the Constitution. I know we shouldn't violate the Second Amendment. And I know that everybody should have a right to have a gun. But that's not reality, people. I mean, you lose your gun now for spitting on a sidewalk or not paying a parking ticket. You use your driver's license if you don't pay child support. You lose your job, you go to jail. I mean, there's just so much tyranny in this government. This is another small step into stealing gun rights. That's my take on it. We'll end that there.